Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today into this just a special presentation concerning something that's very, very significant that's before our government, our parliament at the moment. Many of you will be aware of the Conversion Practices Prohibition Legislation Bill. It's a very long name. I had to read that to make sure I got it right. A bit like ordering your coffee, a large decaf soy latte with one sugar. It becomes a very long name. But jokes aside, I want to call you to action today because we're in another very strategic legislative moment in our nation's history. And I want to draw your attention to something that you can do if you have a heart to do this or a mind to do this, that you can present a submission. So I want to present to you some understanding regarding this Conversion Practices Prohibition Legislation Bill, and I want to raise the main issues regarding it, regarding the wording of the bill, and also the suggestion that the New Zealand Christian Churches Network are putting forward as a desired wording change. So this bill is before Parliament now. It's gone through its first reading, passed through its first reading. That was in early August. It's almost certain to become law as early as this year because it's been introduced by the Labour government, and of course they hold a majority in the House. The reason I'm sharing this with you today is it is a very significant bill, and it's currently before the Justice Select Committee, where it is open for public submissions. As God's people, we're to be a faithful presence in our society, a people that seek the flourishing of our land and all those in it. Jesus used the language, you are salt and you are light. And if the salt loses its savor, so on and so forth. You will get the picture if you're a reader of the scriptures. So we see in Jeremiah 29 verse 7, where God instructs his people through the prophet Jeremiah to seek the peace and prosperity of the city. And of course, the city for them was Babylon. Some of you will know what that is symbolic of in terms of the context of what we're talking about today. And of course, that's the city that they were taken captive. So for Christians in New Zealand in 2021, that involves taking part in the legislative process to make sure that the laws of our land are fair, just, and conducive to human flourishing. So I'd like to take this to talk this through with you today and talk about the key elements of the Conversion Practices Bill and lay out how you can make a submission. If the bill passes in its current form, it would make it illegal to change or suppress an individual's sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression for anyone under 18 or lacking decision-making capability. A person convicted of this offence is liable to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 years. It would also make it illegal for anyone over 18 where conversion practices cause serious harm, or where a person is reckless as to whether it could cause serious harm. So it would be illegal for anyone over 18 to be involved in that in any way. A person convicted of this offence would be liable to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 5 years. There are three aspects of this proposed legislation that we can affirm. Number one, its intention to protect vulnerable people from harm and low mental or emotional health. That's an okay. We can affirm that. Number two, it declares intent to promote respectful and open discussions regarding sexuality and gender. We can support that. We can affirm that. Number three, its declared intent is to affirm the dignity of all people, to uphold human rights of all New Zealanders, to live free from discrimination and harm. And I think we can affirm that. Here are the three concerns or the concerning aspects of the bill or the proposed bill that need to be challenged, or we want to challenge. Number one, the bill limits the freedom of parents and whānau to counsel their children. Family and whānau have an intimate knowledge of their children. They love them and want the best for them. This bill limits what they can say and what they can share and say with their children. As the bill currently stands, parents and whānau could be charged if they're perceived to be preventing their own pre-teen children from taking puberty blockers, or for affirming their daughters as girls and their sons as boys, if their children have indicated otherwise. A key problem is there are diversity of views in the medical community around the benefits and harm associated with puberty blockers, hormone treatments, and surgery. So it's questionable that New Zealand is moving to introduce this law, believing it knows what is best for people, when other countries such as the UK and Sweden have growing concerns about these treatments. Number two, the bill is unclear about what would be illegal and illegal. When the Prime Minister and Minister of Justice have been asked about specific situations, they're unable to say what constitutes serious harm. Would parents telling their son he's a boy constitute serious harm? Would a friend telling a friend not to take hormone blockers constitute serious harm? It's ambiguous, and ambiguity makes for bad law. While the PM and Minister of Justice may truly believe the bar should be set high for criminal convictions, that's not ultimately up to them because they're not the judiciary. This law will be in place long after they've left office. Number three, the bill limits people's freedom to seek prayer and counselling and the church's freedoms to provide it. The message seems to be you can change your sexuality or gender whenever you want, to whatever you want, as often as you want. You just can't get help to do so. This doesn't seem to make sense. It doesn't seem to be a level playing field. I could say something a lot stronger than that, but I won't. If someone wants prayer or counseling to change or to explore even the sexual thinking, the feelings they have, the feelings of orientation they have, if they want to seek prayer or counseling to change or to seek advice or to seek to explore the options for their sexual orientation, their gender, or anything else going on in their life, they should be allowed to seek and they should be allowed to receive it. There are good reasons why there is separation of church and state. Some people will debate that, but here are a couple of good reasons. There are good reasons why the church doesn't get to restrict what laws the government passes, and why the state doesn't get to restrict what the church can and cannot pray for. To summarize these 3 points of concern, the bill would transfer freedoms away from families, individuals, and the church to the state. And there are legitimate reasons to be concerned about that point. Here is what the New Zealand Christian Network suggests as an additional clause to the bill. We very strongly recommend a further clause be inserted that states, in this act, conversion practice does not include respectful and open discussions regarding sexuality and gender, and advice, guidance, prayer, or support given to anyone by anyone else, including parents, family members, friends, counselors, religious leaders, or health professionals, when such advice or support is requested and is respectful and non-coercive. I encourage you all who have an opinion about this piece of legislation to make a submission. It's simple and easy. Just Google, make a submission on the Conversion Practices Bill New Zealand. and follow the prompts on the website. We will be emailing out the information we've been going over today, as well as a guide on how to make a submission. Here are some pointers. Number one, keep to the point and be respectful and constructive. Say what you would affirm and challenge. If possible, share your personal story and how the bill would affect you. Avoid using copy and paste submissions. Number two, keep in mind submissions are publicly available. The public will see your name and submission on the government website. If this is an issue for your personal or professional life, you may want to limit the amount of information you include about you and your work. Or you can request to make an anonymous submission. We'll include these details in the guide. Number three, make sure to make your submission before Wednesday, September the 8th, when submissions close. At the end of this slideshow, or the slide presentation now that we'll go through just to reiterate the main points, there will be a link to the appropriate site where you can start the submission process, and it'll be in the comments section that will be available in this presentation. God bless as we go through this slide presentation. So it's to make a submission on the Conversion Practices Bill. Note that the submissions close Wednesday, the 8th of September. Conversion Practices Prohibition Legislation Bill. Number one, would make it illegal to change or suppress an individual's sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression for anyone under 18 or lacking decision-making capability. A person convicted of this offence is liable to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 years. Number two, it would make it illegal for anyone over 18 where the conversion practice causes serious harm or where a person is reckless as to whether it would cause serious harm. A person convicted of this offence would be liable to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 5 years. And three aspects that we can affirm. Its intention to protect vulnerable people from harm and experience low mental and emotional health. That's number one. Number two, its declared intent to promote respectful and open discussions regarding sexuality and gender. Number three, its declared intent to affirm the dignity of all people and uphold the human rights of all New Zealanders to live free from discrimination and harm. We can affirm those things, I think. Number three, three aspects that can be challenged. Number one, the bill limits the freedoms of parents and whānau to counsel their children. Number two, the bill is unclear around what would be legal and illegal. Number three, the bill limits people's freedoms to seek prayer and counseling and the church's freedoms to provide it. So make a submission. Number one, take time to understand the issue. Number two, be concise and respectful. Number three, use the online form on Parliament's website. Note, submissions close Wednesday, the 8th of September, 2021. So, having gone through that, I encourage you to perhaps go over it again and have a look at the information that's provided, but also there are other websites providing information. And please, stand up, have a voice. This is very crucial. This is a very significant piece of potential legislation, and it is fraught with challenges. So God bless you. Pray into it if you would. The information is there on the bottom of the screen. God bless you. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.